Oh my God, it actually worked. Okay. I don't know if anybody's here because I had to set up a whole new live show from the one that was supposed to be up. And so I don't know. I'm going to post to that one and say that we had to start a new one. I don't know if that's going to work either. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Sarah entertained them while I figured this out.
Hi.
Now I don't know how to post in here. Why isn't it letting me leave a comment? I give up. Okay, I'm going to post here.
Good idea.
Thanks. I don't know if anybody saw that, but hey, I tried. There are some people online, so maybe. Either way, okay, if anybody's here, say hi. Let us know that we're not alone here. This has been such an ordeal today. I'm just exhausted. So let me go here now. Make sure my phone is still muted. Okay. Oh, we see a person. Hello, Amy.
Hi.
Oh, good. Okay. So we are here to discuss Jawbone by Monica Ojeda, and I am sorry to say that I did not read the whole book. I did not like this. Neither did Sarah. You can see I gave up about, I don't know,
a chapter before me?
A chapter before you. No, I think I'm a chapter behind you. I think you read this one, right? I don't even know.
I mean, if you told me what the chapter was about,
I could not. I could not tell you. So yeah, I made it about 2/3. I said 3/4 before, but now I'm looking at it again, and I think it's more like 2/3.
Yeah.
About 2/3 of the way in. But this is just not a book for me. I can tell you why I did not enjoy this. And I don't know, maybe we're not alone. I think Sarah and I both had a lot of the same opinions here, in that this is just a very hard to read book, and I think it's hard to read on purpose, which I don't understand why writers do that. I don't know. I don't like pretentious writing, or when it feels like the author is trying to be edgy or different with the way that they're writing the story. For example, this book has no, I don't know if you can see this. There's almost no paragraph breaks ever. And except for when randomly there are. So yeah, you can see here at the beginning, there's one paragraph break there, and then some of the chapters are monologues.
I actually didn't hate the monologue chapters.
I didn't like them, but I didn't despise them as much as the Clara chapters. Oh my God, I did not like anything where Clara was the main perspective. That was just the absolute worst. So I didn't finish because I got to a point where I was like, this is killing me and it's going to put me in a reading slump, and I just can't. I can't do it. I'm the kind of person who, if I get 20, 30 pages into a book and I'm just really not enjoying the experience, I'll just put it away and never read it again. Or I might come back to it in a few months or a few years and see if maybe my thoughts have changed. I don't think I'm going to revisit this ever. I told Sarah I was going to look up to see what happens. I wanted to know at least the ending of the story. And I said that days ago, and I just haven't done it because I honestly don't care. I did not enjoy this. Sarah, do you have any thoughts to add?
So yeah, I guess my perspective on this book is that this is 100% something I would have been made to read in college. The whole reading process for me was just I think that's what made it the hardest thing to get through is that it felt like school reading, and I'm just over that. I graduated. You don't have to make me read these kinds of books anymore.
Well, I kind of compared it to something that I heard when Sarah graduated. They did a reading where all the different students in the writing program that were graduating read a piece that they had been working on for us. And there was one in particular. One of them I kind of blocked out of my memory. Like, I don't even remember what it was now. But one of them was just so viscerally disturbing that I did not enjoy it. And it kind of reminded me of the writing in this. Like, the one I'm talking about was meat. Like, just a very descriptive butchering of meat. And there were scenes in this where I was like, yeah, okay, I could see that kid writing this someday.
Yeah, to me,
it felt like that.
This book, like, I don't know anything about the author, so like,
I'm gonna put it down because
I literally don't know like how old the author is when they wrote it or anything. But like,
no, I don't know anything about the author either.
The book really read to me less like a polished, finished, published work and more like a senior project, like at the end of a BFA program.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to do lots of like pretentious things.
Yeah, there was just a lot of stuff mixed in that it was hard to tell like whose intended audience was outside of like what was the author was writing for themselves, because like there's so many references, like anime references just randomly thrown in them, like took me out of the moment. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know who the audience was meant to be either. It felt like there were moments that I did almost enjoy this. Like, I liked the stuff about the white god, and the relationship between Fernanda and Annalise. I kind of got into that part a little bit, but then it would go back to Clara, or it would go back to some like really just convoluted sentences and paragraphs, and I was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I really like weird toxic friendship stories.
Yeah, I would have liked if it was just that.
Yeah, if this is what the book was, and it really went into that exclusively, I think that I might have been more inclined to finish it.
Yes.
But there's too much going on.
There's a lot of weird stuff happening, and I don't know that my brain was taking it in. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of like literary fiction. Like, there are some books that would be classified as that I have read and enjoyed.
Yeah, I think college forced me to kind of make myself like literary fiction so that I could get through some of the books I was reading. So, like, I don't hate literary fiction as much as I used to, but I have limits. And this book is my absolute limit. Like, I can't do this kind of book.
I didn't get it. So yeah, it was a book. And I got to a point where I was just like, I can't do it. I can't make myself do this. Like, I've read books before that like were not great that I could finish, but this was just like too hard for my brain to process. Like, I need paragraph breaks. I need punctuation. I need sentences that don't go on for like 10 lines, and like it was too much. So I don't know, I'm sorry. I felt really guilty too that I could not finish this because it's my book club. I made people read this thing, and I feel terrible that I forced people to read this. Like, I don't know.
You would have not survived the day in
I
creative writing classes.
You know what, though? In high school, when I had to read things that I just didn't read them. And I would just like sit back and like listen to what people were saying and then jump in and like add thoughts based on what they said. And I don't know. Somehow I played it off like I did read the book, but I don't know. I've never been good at making myself read something that somebody told me to read or that like I'm just not enjoying. Okay, let's see. Some people are commenting. Yeah, I don't like long paragraphs and long sentences for no reason. Like, that's just weird. Lauren says, I forced this book. It took 125 pages for it to actually get interesting, and then it ended with nothing at all fulfilling. I would like, can somebody just spoil me what happens at the end? Because I just can't bring myself to Google it. Like, I don't care.
I was honestly expecting it to end with like nothing actually happening. I know, but that's just like what literary fiction does. Like, they don't end.
I don't know.
It's just like
so that happened. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've read books that have confusing endings, and I don't mind an ambiguous ending. So, like, I don't know how I would have felt getting to the end of this, but I don't know.
But like a lot of literary stuff doesn't even have ambiguous endings. They literally just abruptly end. It's like there you go.
Did you ever read Kindred? Kindred by
No.
Octavia
I
Butler?
haven't.
Because that had a really weird ending where I just sat back and went, huh? Like, what does that mean? So, like, I don't know. If I had to create an ending for this book, I imagine that either Fernanda kills Clara or Clara kills Fernanda.
Or neither.
Or neither. I don't know. Maybe they just go, okay, this was just a misunderstanding. The thing that I really just was bothering me while I was reading, that like just kind of maybe pushed me over the edge into just like not caring, is the fact that we kind of get hints that Fernanda and Annalise were like into torture. But they kept saying, you know, that thing I told you about already, but I'm not going to bring it up now because I already told you. Like, what was that? Like, I despise when authors do that. Like, stop it. Why can't you just explain it? Why can't you just say, hey, I did this thing and explain what you did? Like, I don't like that. And that just like made me so annoyed that I was just like, you know what? I don't care anymore.
I would have loved to see like in a workshop at one of my workshop classes, like to hear your opinions on.
Oh my God, I would be so mean because like I'd be like, excuse me, your writing makes no sense and no one's gonna want to read that. So perhaps maybe don't do that. I don't know. Laura says Annalise is the actual disturbed one. That is very clear. She manipulated every situation in the entirety of the book to hurt Fernanda. Yeah, I didn't like Annalise as a person, but as a character, I found her really intriguing. And I just wished that the book was focused. Just focus on that. I don't need Clara and her weird mother worship thing that was happening. Like that was weird and creepy in an uncomfortable way. Like I like disturbing books. Like this is just not one that was for me.
Yeah, I think I would have actually probably enjoyed this book if it was exclusively written in those monologues. Like if we got monologues from Fernanda and Annalise and that was the book,
maybe
I think that would have worked better because
maybe I could almost agree with that.
And I think if it narrowed in and honed in on one of the elements and focused on that for the whole story, it might have actually felt more like you were reading a story. And it would have just, I don't know, made more sense.
Yeah.
There was so much going on that I would forget what happened in the previous chapter as soon as I started the next one. Because they would be, like, so different. So it would be hard for me to, like, cling on to something.
Okay, so Laura says, basically, Annalise set Fernanda up to get tortured by Clara. It is implied that Clara kills Fernanda by shooting her through her female parts and then killing herself. Okay. I mean, I kind of thought Annalise was behind it because I think there was a scene right before I ducked out where Annalise is like trying to talk to Clara about something. And I kind of wondered, okay, did she tell her something to get her to kidnap? But like, how disturbed does a person have to be that all you have to do is nudge them and say, yeah, this person might have done something? Like the teacher's like, okay, let me go kidnap them. Like, it's just weird. I don't know. This book was just not a thing that I would want to try to finish. It kind of reminded me, what is it called? Wolf Hall. I don't know if anyone's tried to read Wolf Hall. I can't even think of the author's name. I think there's like a trilogy where it's about the Tudors, and I think it's focused on Thomas Cromwell. That book should have been for me. Like I read almost anything if you tell me it's about the Tudors, but I could not because the author doesn't use quotation marks. And it still was like this person's talking and then he said, but there's like 6 men in the room. So which he said it. Like it was so confusing. And I'm like, why? I don't enjoy pretentious writing or like I'm going to not use punctuation for my story because I'm so clever. Like I hate that.
Yeah, I have no idea what the title of the book is because like I haven't heard I did actually read it for class. It was something that like I think one of our teachers mentioned like freshman year about a book that was really cool because it only had 3 sentences the entire book. I was like, what? How? No.
What?
Like an entire novel with like maybe 3 or 4 sentences.
What, like in The
total.
Shining when he's just typing all work and no play?
No. Like
I just
really
don't.
long sentences.
Oh my god, no, that's just no, thank you. I don't understand that whole thing. I don't get it. Reading is supposed to be fun and
I mean, depends on who you
enjoyable.
talk to. I know people who like don't think reading should be for fun. It should be like
I'm
an
all about
intelligent thing.
I'm all about learning. Like I'll read nonfiction and I like nonfiction, but like I don't understand making reading hard for no reason. Like it's just ugh, I don't get it. Yeah, see, I don't like see I kind of hate that I'm doing this right now. I don't like being negative about books. Like usually if I don't enjoy a book, I just never talk about it. Like if you guys ever pay attention to my Goodreads and a book comes up as I'm currently reading and then disappears, it's because I just wasn't getting into it and I just decided not to finish it. It's rare that I've given a book less than 3 stars. Like occasionally I'll have a 2-star read where I did finish it and I just didn't enjoy it, but I'll never talk about it. Like you'll probably never hear me mention it because I don't like being negative about books. It's just not something I enjoy doing. I might rant to Sarah or my husband and be like, "Oh my god, this book is so terrible." So like I'll never talk about it online. So like this is just painful for me that I had to like go and pick a book that I ended up hating. And then I have to do a whole live show talking about it. So, oh god, yeah, agree. If it's an arc and I didn't like it, oh, that's the worst. Sometimes if I'm because I'm on NetGalley, and sometimes if I read a book that I've gotten as an arc and I just hate it, I'll just go in and say I'm not leaving feedback because like I don't want to like be negative about the book because I don't want to hurt the author in some way. Like maybe that book is just not for me. And that's the thing too, like books are up to interpretation and like a book that I hate could be your favorite book and I don't want to be like that person who's like, "Oh, you liked that? Ugh, that's terrible. How could you like I don't like being that person." So like it is what it is. This is a book that I just did not enjoy the majority of and could not even bring myself to finish. So, you know, it's rough. It's hard. Like it's hard to be out here reviewing books and stuff and have like a really negative opinion of something that other people could potentially love. Like I can almost see why people would enjoy this book, which and the reason I picked it for book club was because I wanted a horror book and I wanted something that was like maybe not too scary. Like I didn't want to pick something that I knew was going to be like really scary because I didn't want people to not read it. But also this was a book I got in my nightworms.
The worms sprung, so obviously that means it has to be good.
And I'd seen like people online talking about it positively. So I'm like, ooh, that sounds like it could be good. The synopsis sounded interesting. So it's bound to happen once in a while that I choose a book for book club that I end up just loathing. Like we've done books before that I had like not great opinions about, but I still managed to finish. Alas, this is not one of them. So now that we've ranted for like 20 minutes, so somebody tell me what was like your favorite part of this book. So we end on a positive note here. Like I said, I really liked the stuff with the white god and the whole like the storytelling behind that. I know my youngest is really into creepypastas.
Yeah, that's like part of the book I actually didn't hate, and I think
when they're talking about all the different creepypastas they like I found that
even discussing
entertaining.
The creepypastas that I'm pretty sure I read a while back.
I've never read a single creepypasta.
So did you get to the part about the one about the like TV channel? It's like the
I don't know. I don't.
Kids show where.
Yes.
Like I knew that creepypasta.
Did you?
So
okay, yeah. I've never heard of any of it. So like
territory.
Yeah. So I mean, there were elements of this that I did like, I just wished more of that had been the story. So yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna talk about the book we're going to be reading this month. I'm very excited about this, and I have much higher expectations that I'm going to love this because I've read Tiffany D. Jackson before. So the book of the month. That's not what I wanted to say.
Book of the month.
No, the selection for October is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I am very excited to start this. I'm probably not going to start it though until I don't know what do I want to do? Probably like next week or the week after that, so that so that we're closer to the live show. But this is a Carrie retelling. It's Tiffany D. Jackson. I'm expecting some kind of crazy twist. I have very high hopes that this is going to be great and it will redeem this mess that I did this month. So I don't know. There's a chance Sarah's going to read this. I know there's a chance it gets nominated for YA spec in Sybil's. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'll probably only read it if it gets nominated, just because I have a lot of books on my plate right now.
I don't know if this counts as spec though. Has anyone started this? Does anyone know? Is this speculative? Is there like any kind of weird magic things going on? Any kind of weird stuff that couldn't happen in the real world? I don't know. I wasn't sure if this would count and Sarah would be able to read it because Sarah's a judge for Sybil's for the YA speculative category. So mostly like fantasy, some sci-fi, anything fantastical. So I was kind of hoping that I thought telekinesis might count as speculative.
Yeah.
And I assumed that was still happening in this because it is a Carrie retelling. But I wasn't like 100% sure that that's the direction she was going to go. But I was hoping.
If there's telekinesis, I don't think that's in real life.
No.
Therefore.
So, well, no, I know. But like, I didn't know 100% that that's the direction we were going here. Because like I said, White Smoke, I don't think would have counted as speculative because White Smoke was mostly like, this could all really happen.
It's weird. I'm pretty sure I remembered that in my category.
I don't know how it could have been.
I don't know.
But because, I didn't know. So anyway, hopefully Sarah gets to read this too. And she will be here for the live show because next year, Sarah will not be joining us for book club because Sarah.
Don't say anything.
No, I can't. Okay.
No, it's not public information.
It's not. Okay. So anyway, never mind. I didn't know if that was something I was allowed to talk about. Sorry. Never mind. I'll share more later. But I've been trying to get Sarah to do book club with me this year as much as I could.
In other words, I wanted to recommend a different literary
yes. Please share.
Horror-ish book. Just like if you also did not like this one that I feel like would have made a better book club book that I'm trying to get you to read is Woman Eating by Claire Coda. It is a literary vampire novel. It's easier to follow writing style, so it makes sense, the story flows, but also it doesn't really have a plot. It's mostly vibes, which I personally really enjoy.
It's
about food and art and human connection while not being a human. And it's just very vibey and interesting, and I really like it. I gave it 5 stars, and I don't usually do that for this kind of book, but I really like it.
I am interested in that just because you gave it 5 stars, and I know that that's not really the thing you read. So yeah, I might pick that up sometime. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do horror January because normally for the next I don't know, September, October, November, I am all about just all the horror. But because I'm a Sybil's judge, I have to read I don't know, currently the nominations list is 40 books for the middle grade fiction. So I've got 40 books to read right now. And there's going to be more because it's only a week into nominations. And then once public nominations end on the 15th, it opens up to publishing and authors. So I imagine there's going to be 100 books on my to read list. So I'm going to be busy reading middle grade for the next 3 months. So I'm going to miss out on reading all the spooky stuff. I'm going to try to squeeze things in. Like, obviously, I'm going to read The Weight of Blood. And I might try to fit in a few other little things when I can, but like I don't see it happening realistically. So I think I'm January, I'm going to be doing like all the horror all month long. So because I'll finally have time. So I don't know. Should we make that a thing? Is that a thing other people would be interested in? Or should that could just be for me? I don't know yet. Oh, I'm backed up on reading people's comments. Okay, Laura says, I'm having a hard time getting myself to want to read The Weight of Blood when it's saying it's a time of segregated dances, but there's also cell phones, like it's present time. Interesting. See, I don't really know a ton. I did not read the synopsis for it because I'd been following Tiffany D. Jackson online talking about like what this book was for ages. And I've been very excited to just read it. And I didn't really want to know too much beyond that it's a Carrie retelling. So that's interesting, though, that it's got some interesting like vibes happening. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be reading it soon, and we'll figure that out. That'll be an interesting topic of conversation, if nothing else, for the live show. So yeah, I might start this sooner, just so I can like start reading it.
No, I would recommend reading it as soon as you can, because once you're deep into Sybil,
I'm already deep in, Sarah. I'm reading.
You're still at the very beginning. Like,
it is early.
Get more intense. You haven't even gotten stuff in the mail yet.
I have not started getting books in the mail. So we got library cards at the city library near us because our tiny town library doesn't have a big selection. So we had to go get library cards at the city library. So I had to pay $60 to get a library card.
But it's worth it.
But it's worth it because when I went through the database and started like tagging what books I could get at the library, it was like a lot. They had a lot of stuff. So in the end, it will be worth it because it means I'm not going to have to buy all those books or expect publishers to try to find them for me. So in the end, it works out. But yeah, now I have a library card at a big library that has so many things. So they even have Eric LaRocca. They had his newest book I saw on the website. And I was like, ooh, did not expect that. So Laura said, I love horror all the time. So horror January is awesome to me. Yeah, I just want to be able to read it because I've gotten so many things. Like a lot of them are here, but not all of them. But I've gotten so many things from Nightworms. And I've been saying for like the last couple of years that I really want to explore more horror because I grew up watching horror movies and reading Stephen King and John Saul. That was like my introduction to horror was like watching scary movies at night with my dad and reading all the Stephen King and all the John Saul when I was like 11, 12, 13 years old. But like I haven't really branched out a ton. And there is so much like new stuff that I've just not read yet, or so much old stuff that I haven't read yet. So like I really want to explore more things and read a bunch of the stuff that I've gotten through Nightworms because obviously this book was a dud, but not all of them are going to be. So like I want to try to read lots of different things. So I don't know, maybe I'll pick something else from the Nightworms that I get for January and we'll see. Oh, I see somebody else likes John Saul. I loved John Saul. Like that was my jam. Like that was my YA because all of his books had a teen protagonist.
John Saul wrote that book that you tried to get me to read and I hated it.
I tried to get Sarah to read Shadows. Is that the one I gave you? That was my favorite. My favorite John Saul was Shadows. I was obsessed.
People's brains into computers. It was so squeaky. I didn't like it.
I was so into that book.
Very upset. I had to stop. I was like, this is making me
uncomfortable. I gave my copy to a friend in like the 7th grade and she never gave it back. And that was like the last time I read it because I no longer had it and my library never had it. So that was like, it really bummed me out. And then as an adult, I found it again and I loved Second Child too. That one was so good. The Unwanted was really good. I have they're behind all of this, but I have all of his books. I was planning on doing a reading vlog where I just like read a whole bunch of John Saul and like all the nostalgic vibes. Yeah, that was my thing. So like I would really like to expand on my horror reading tastes because like, yeah, Stephen King's great. John Saul's really fun, but like there's so much stuff to read. So like maybe I'll put up a poll sometime and we'll pick the January book together because I have a lot of options. Because we only have one more book club this year. We're meeting at the beginning of November for The Weight of Blood, and then that's it for 2022 because we don't do book club in November, December because it's just too chaotic with the holidays, and I don't want to have one more thing to do. So, Lord, I haven't read the Blackstone Chronicles. I have it, but I've not read that. That came out, I think, after my like John Saul phase ended, but I bet it's good. I have to read that sometime. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys for coming and listening to us rant about a book we didn't even finish. I feel so much guilt over that, but it is what it is. I promise next month when we meet, I will have read the book, and perhaps Sarah will too.
Perhaps.
I hope so. I think you'll like it. Have you read any Tiffany D. Jackson yet?
No.
Sarah!
Every time we have
I
this
know.
conversation, we have the same.
As I keep hoping, perhaps by now. No. Okay, well, then maybe this will be your introduction. I almost am insisting that you read it now. I'm assigning it to you.
Well, you should have nominated it, but you wasted your nomination on something else.
Because I would nominate something I had read. Okay, fine, whatever. Anyway.
If one of you wants to nominate it to force me to read it.
Okay, please. Any one of you who would like to do so, go to the Sybil's page, nominate The Weight of Blood in
or
the
another book
YA spec.
Should be nominated.
I mean, go nominate anything, please. The public nominations are open until the 15th of this month. So you can nominate anything that you want in Kidlit, from picture books to early chapter books to nonfiction, middle grade fantasy, not middle grade, poetry. What else? What are the other categories? YA fiction, YA speculative fiction, graphic novels. That's what I'm forgetting. So yeah, there's tons of categories. If a book was published between October 16th, 2021 to October 15th, 2022, it counts. You can nominate it. So go nominate books. Somebody go nominate The Weight of Blood so Sarah will read it for the book club this month. So, okay. Thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll see you next time. Happy reading.
Bye.
Bye.